Thank you. Just a blessing that I get an opportunity to share my testimony. And I'll start by sharing a verse. It means a lot to me. 2 Peter 3:9. God is not slack concerning his promises. Some men count slackness, but is long-suffering us, we're not willing that any should perish, but that all should come to repentance. I know there's a lot of debate about who the all in that verse means, and I'm not here to debate that. I'm just thankful that that all included me. And I grew up in a Christian home, an independent Baptist church. Went to church 3 times a week. And about the time I was 10, my parents got a divorce. And entire family got out of church. And it was about that time. I mean, from the time I was 10 till I was saved at 23, I ran from God. And I knew He was seeking me. But I thought I was having fun. I got into a lot of bad things. I was hanging out with gang members. Went from Bloods and Crips to the other extreme, to skinheads. Got into satanic music. And not debatable. It just flat out satanic, and got into drugs, and it was bad. But the whole time I knew God was He was searching after me, and I didn't want to give those things up. I always would say, well, you know, at that time I thought I was saved, and I would say I'll get right when I get married and have kids. But for 13 years I lived a miserable life, and came to a point where I knew that things needed to change, and I tried to do it on my own. And in 1 Peter chapter 1, verse 18 and 19, Peter talks about that. He says, we can't be saved by corruptible things or vain conversations, but only by the blood of Jesus. And the more I did to try to overcome these things on my own, the further I got from God. No matter where I went or what I did, I continued down the same path. It came a point where I thought, well, if I move away from my friends, then I can quit doing the drugs. And I moved to Las Vegas, Nevada, and with my family out there. And a week after I was there, the same things, found the same friends, started down the same path. And the longer I went down that path, the more I struggled. I mean, inside of me, I was struggling. I was wrestling with God. I knew that what I was doing was wrong. It came to a point where I thought, well, if I join the Navy, maybe that'll help straighten me out. So I joined the Navy and got in the Navy, started doing the same things. Not as bad, but doing the things that I thought I could get away with in the Navy, but even doing drugs and hiding those things. I thank God today that He allowed me to get out of the Navy with an honorable discharge. But after I'd been in the Navy about a month, a couple of my friends and I, we started attending church. And we'd go out drinking on Saturday night, and then get up and go to church on Sunday morning, and lived that way for quite a while. And one weekend, me and my buddies, 2 buddies that grew up in Christian homes, we decided we were going to go on a road trip, and we were going to go party for the weekend with my cousin in Asheville, North Carolina. And we got in the car and we headed out, and along the trip we got tired, so right before we got into Asheville, we pulled over and we stopped at a rest area. We were going to sleep for the night, and we laid down and we went to sleep. A few minutes after we went to sleep, 2 guys came up to the car, and they knocked on the window. They asked us for directions, and we gave them directions. We talked with them. They were very polite. And then we told them, hey, we got to get up early in the morning, and we need to lay back down. And they said, all right, and left. And then as soon as we laid back down, they fired 28 rounds into our car. One had a 9mm, the other had a .45. They were both hollow points in both guns. And they hit each of us in the car. They hit the driver and the passenger each once, and they had hit me 5 times. I'd like to step back for a moment and say, 10 minutes before they came up to the car, I got shot in my legs 5 times. I was laid out in the back seat. 10 minutes before they came up, I'd been laying the other direction. I wasn't comfortable, and I switched around. And I know that was God. And He allowed all of us to live that night. And I'm just thankful that that night He was not willing that any should perish. He wanted us to be saved. And I knew at that point what I needed to do. And my buddies as well, we both said, hey, as soon as we get out of the hospital, we're gonna get in church, and we're gonna get our lives right. And that first Sunday came around, when we got out of the hospital, we set our alarm clock, and it went off about 7 o'clock, and we were too tired to get up. We said, let's go next Sunday. And so we shut the alarm clock off. But God was patient, and He was pursuing me. 5 minutes later, there was a knock on my door. And a lot of you know him. It was David Hennessy. He was running the military ministry here at Trinity Baptist Church. And he was looking for somebody that had said they would come out, but he had the wrong room. And he said, hey, we came to pick so-and-so up for church. And we said, he's not here. He said, do you guys want to go? I said, yeah. And we got up and went. I'm just thankful that the Lord was patient with me. I'm thankful that He was searching for me. I'm thankful for Trinity Baptist Church. And had it not been for Trinity Baptist Church, I might not have got saved. I got in church. Several months later, after hearing Pastor's testimony, I realized that I needed to get saved. And it changed my life. All the things I was trying to do, all the fun I thought I was having, none of those things could make me happy. But I found true happiness when I found Jesus Christ. One thing I want to touch on is after this event, they caught the 2 gentlemen that shot us. And we were able to go back up to Asheville for their trial. And they shot us 3, and they shot a pastor's son that same night in the head, and he lived. They shot another gentleman at the bus stop, and he lived. Everybody lived that night out of 5 people that they shot. And we got to go to their trial. And one of them went state's witness, and he ended up getting 40 years. And the other one thought he could beat the charge because they didn't kill anybody, so it wasn't attempted murder. And he ended up getting 217 years. And 170 he'll be eligible for parole. But before the sentencing, we were able to say something to these guys. And I couldn't say it at the time because I was very emotional. But I had my mom say it. I looked at the one guy who was trying to get off the charges. And when we were back at the car and they were talking to us, this guy reminded me of myself. I remember thinking that he didn't do any of the talking, but he was at my window, and I looked out and I saw him. Matter of fact, he had on the same Slayer t-shirt that I used to wear, and it was like I was looking in the mirror. And I remembered that. Had it not been for God's grace in my life, who knows, I could have shot some people. I could have been in prison. And I wanted my mom to convey that message to that guy, and I wanted him to know that I forgave him, that I truly forgave him, and that I loved him, and that I want him to come to know Jesus. I don't know if he has, but he thanked me, and I'm grateful for God that He gave me the ability to have that forgiveness, and just to realize that I was no different than these 2 guys. The only difference between me and them was the fact that Jesus Christ had saved me.